Kick-ass facts. Who knew there were so many shady experiments? Pew, 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 pew. I don't know what's coming up, so let's just put all the warnings out there just in case. In 1954, it was discovered that the septal region is the feel-good center of the brain. Electrical stimulation of it produces sensations of intense pleasure and sexual arousal. Researchers demonstrated their discovery by inserting wires into a rat's brain and then showing that when the rat figured out it could self-stimulate by pressing a lever, it would maniacally bang on that lever up to 2,000 times an hour. In 1970, Robert Heath decided to test whether repeated stimulation of the septal region could transform a homosexual man into a heterosexual one. He inserted Teflon-insulated electrodes into the septal region of a test subject's brain and then gave him carefully controlled amounts of stimulation in experimental sessions. Soon the young man, referred to as B19, was reporting increased stirrings of sexual motivation. Heath then raised it up to allow him to self-stimulate. He quickly became obsessed with the pleasure button. In one 3-hour session, B19 pressed it 1,500 times. I'm impressed. As Heath noticed, he was experiencing an almost overwhelming euphoria and elation and had to be disconnected. God bless. By this stage of the experiment, B19's libido was so jacked up that Heath decided to perform the final stage in which B19 would be introduced to a sexually willing woman. With permission from the state attorney general, Heath arranged for a 21-year-old sex worker to visit the lab and placed her in the room with B19. For an hour, B19 did nothing. Then the sex worker took the initiative and a successful sexual encounter between the two occurred. Heath considered it a positive result. However, Heath reported that the young man later drifted back into a life of homosexual sex work, but that he also had an affair with married women. Heath optimistically decided that this showed the treatment was at least partially successful. However, Heath never did try to convert anyone else. This next one is super, super gross. I'm warning you now. I will warn you again. Trust me. Stubbins Firth was a Philadelphia doctor in training in the early 19th century. Having observed that yellow fever ran rampant during the summer but disappeared in the winter, he concluded that it must be because yellow fever, contrary to popular opinion, was not actually a contagious disease. Instead, he theorized it was caused by an excess of stimulants such as heat, food, and noise. He set out to demonstrate that no matter how much he exposed himself to yellow fever, he wouldn't catch it. Here's your first warning to go. Okay. He started by making small incisions on his arms and pouring fresh black vomit obtained from a yellow fever patient into the cuts. He didn't get sick. Here's your next warning. Trust me. Next, he dribbled vomit into his eyes. He fried some up on a skillet and inhaled the fumes. He fashioned some into a pill and swallowed it. Finally, here's your last warning, he took to drinking entire glasses of pure, undiluted black vomit. And still he didn't get sick. He rounded out his experiment by liberally smearing himself with other yellow fever-tainted fluids, blood, saliva, perspiration, and urine. Healthy as ever, he declared his theory proven. Unfortunately, he was fucking wrong. It is crazy contagious. But it requires direct transmission into the bloodstream, usually by a mosquito, to cause the infection. I told you. Scientists interested in aging and trying to reverse aging joined two mice together, one young and the other old, and studied the effects. When the older mouse's circulatory system was connected to the younger mouse, the old mouse experienced reversed aging in muscles and the brain.